Topic of discussion is sex differences between the skeleton of man and women. Okay, what is the basic difference between female and male? Why some females are very much specific, very much expert in some sports, but in some sport male is man dominating, some sport is women dominating. So skeleton system, bone is also playing a very good role in the difference in the skeleton in the sports. So what are those basic difference occur between the skeleton of male and skeleton of female? So when this difference occur, basically the difference between the when a child born, when a fetus born, the skeleton system is almost same. There is no difference between the structure and alignment of the skeletal system or bone of the male and female. But when this difference in skeletal system occur, as this sex difference in bones structure are due to puberty time. When a girl and a boy achieve its puberty, there is some variation in the alignment and the structure of the skeleton of both male and female. What is puberty? Puberty, whenever you are talking about puberty, puberty is achieved in early age in female or women, or as well as it comes later, 2 to 3 years later in male. So average adult man is 5 to 9 inch taller than the average adult women. When we see normally the man has higher height than women. What is the cause? Why man is always having the average height of male is why higher? So it is only and only because of skeleton. The length of skeleton bone is higher in males in comparison to female. That's why the average height of male is longer than female. Next come to these difference contribute to different in abilities to successfully perform physical activities. Like if a person is male is having 6 feet height and is considered taller in his community, and the same community if a lady is having 5'4" height, she will be considered as taller. So even lady is taller in her group and a male is taller in his group, but he is taller is having 6.2 height and the lady is having 5.4. So even there is difference of around 1 feet. So all those events like high jumping, long jumping, sprinting, running, where you need more cadence, more distance running, high jumping, long jumping, it is mainly, or basketball where you need height, more height. All those sports activities where you are getting advantage by your height, males are dominating in those sports. And if you see in last 10 years, all the tennis player, either male or women, who won the Grand Slam, they are having height more than 6 feet. So most of the sports are height specific. So and how we can get more height? It is because of skeleton. So normally these difference contribute to difference in ability to successfully, because women generally have long torso relative to their leg length, their center of gravity, the point on the body where weight above equal the weight is lower than. So we need two things for any sport. We need stability as well as mobility. When you talk about stability, women has more stability. When you talk about mobility, males has more mobility. What is the cause? Why women has more stability than male, and why males have more mobility than women? It is because of center of gravity. Normally center of gravity is considered just anterior to S2, but because of increased height in men, COG is slightly shifted upward, and when COG will be upward, we will have less stable. When COG will be shifted downward, we will be more stable. So why COG is lower in the women? It is because of two things. First thing, women has broader pelvis than men, and because of broader pelvis, the maximum weight, and women have maximum fat over her hip region. So because of more weight of, third thing, women has long torso. Women have long torso mean their trunk is long. Torso mean their base, hip is larger than male. So because of having bigger hip, whole the body weight is concentrated near the hip. So COG will be lower in female and higher in male, whereas male has broader chest. So because of having broader chest, the weight of body is more over the upside. so they are having higher COG. Individual with lower COG are better able to maintain balance. So because having lower COG in females, they is having more stability. It's also competitive gymnastic. Women compete on the balance beam, not men. Gymnastic activities require more balance. So gymnast, if you see gymnast, in most of the gymnasts, it is the champions are only and only female. But ice skating, ballet dance and other form of dance also require a lot of balance, and lower center of gravity may enhance a woman's ability to stay on her feet. So all those sports activities which require more stability and balance, women are good enough in those sports. But all those tasks which require more high mobility and less stability, men are better because of two things: because of higher height as well as less basic support. Men is performing better in those sports which require mobility and less stability. Like men are better in tasks that require leverage because they have longer limb that can transmit more force. Because of having larger limb, either lower limb or upper limb, the effort arm is larger in men in comparison to women, so they can produce larger force and perform better than women in some of the sports where large distance or all this type of activities is required. So all those sport activities where balance is required, female can perform better because they are having less lower COG or lower center of gravity. But all those sports where more mobility is required, men are performing better. Now come to the basic differences in the anatomical or structural variation of skeleton of male and female. If we see from the upside, first is mandible. Mandible is a jawbone. Mandible is a jawbone, and it is larger in men. Mandible is larger in men. Why? Because man needs more food in comparison to female. Because man needs more energy to perform outside of activities, whereas females are more to perform endurance activities. For more endurance activity, you need more energy, and when you need more energy, you need more strength. So their mandible is bigger than women. Second is the temporal bone. Two bones near temple have larger opening in male to allow for the connection of thicker muscle to support a large jaw. Because of larger mandible, so temporal bone is also larger in men because to connect the muscle from the mandible to your forehead. Next is frontal bone. So forehead is more rounded in female with less pronounced bow ridge. The normal frontal bone is rounded in women, whereas most pronounced in male. Ossococci, two bones in pelvis, have a round pelvis inlet in a woman from flatter and broader pelvis bone. Because of a property of delivery, women are going to deliver a baby. That's why they have broader pelvis and broader opening of pelvis symphysis, so child can come out. So when you compare the pelvis of a male and female, female is having broader pelvis with larger opening and circular opening, whereas male have flatter opening. Another important skeleton difference is Q angle. The angle, what is Q angle? The angle formed between kneecap and femur, between patella and femur, increases as broadness of body pelvis increases. So females have larger Q angle in comparison to male. Why they are having larger Q angle? Because they are having broader pelvis, and Q angle has a great importance in production of torque by quadriceps muscle. Why? What is the importance? Thought to be sex influenced risk factor for knee injuries. This may be result of differences in the leg muscle length. That's why, because of larger Q angle, women are less prone to damage their knee, whereas male are more prone to damage knee. And second cause, because of larger Q angle, they cannot produce more force. These are the basic differences between the skeleton of male and female. Now come to the structural or biochemical differences between the skeleton of male and female. Normally, male is having higher amount of inorganic substance. They are stiffer bone. They have strong calcium. They are having more strong bone in comparison to female, because the normal bone metabolism is controlled by hormone, and in females, especially in females, as well as the normal bone health is controlled by some physical activities. So most of the females are not indulged or not involved in most of the physical activities, so their bone health is inferior to the bone health of men. The other factor for bone health of men and women, because the bone health is controlled by the hormone, and in female system there are a lot of hormonal changes are taking place during pregnancy. Even when a female is pregnant, the whole calcium of fetus is going through women bone. All other nutrients which a fetus is required comes through the mother's blood, but the calcium required for the development of bone of the fetus comes through the bones of women. So women has a weaker bone, and during pregnancy they are having different chemical changes, different hormonal changes. Even during menses, during after menstruation, as well as in post-menopausal stages, they have lot of hormonal changes, and hormones are responsible for bone health. So women have less quality of bone strength in comparison to men. So these are the anatomical and physiological differences in the skeletal of bone, and on the basis of these differences, the ability to perform in a specific sport by male and female is different. Thank you. The first topic of discussion is introduction and function of human respiratory system. Human respiratory system, this is the main system of our body, which, because we all know, we need oxygen to be alive. According to quotation, nothing is important in life than oxygen. So to be alive, we need oxygen to our body and removal of carbon dioxide from our body. And this process of inhaling oxygen from atmosphere and to release carbon dioxide from our body to atmosphere is known as respiration. And this whole process of respiration is carried out in human body with the help of respiratory system. So let us discuss some important feature about respiratory system. Our respiratory system if you divide the system, it can be classified into conducting pathway and functional pathway of where gases exchange takes place from lungs to tissue level. So I would like to introduce some important organs, some important part of respiratory system. The first part from where your respiratory system starts is nasal passage. And the main function of nasal passage is air enter the body through the nasal passage during normal breathing. Whenever we breathe, it is our nose, nasal passage, both two nasal passages through which the normal oxygen along with other airs enter within the body. As well as after entering the body, it will have some physiological effect, then it will come out in form of carbon dioxide. So air enter into the body in form of oxygen through nasal passage, as well as the utilized air, that is having more amount of carbon dioxide, exhale from our nose or our body in form also from the nasal passage. The second part of respiratory system is larynx. You can see in the diagram, this is the larynx, and air passing over the larynx produce sound for speaking. So the second component of respiratory system, it also comes in the conducting pathway of respiratory system. This is second is larynx, and the main function of larynx is passing air over the larynx produce sound. Whenever air will pass through the larynx, it will produce sound. So larynx has two functions. First function, it facilitates the passage of oxygen, and second function, it is helpful in speaking. The third component of respiratory system is trachea. Trachea is also known as windpipe. air passes down to the trachea to the lungs. So first your air will come in nose, then go to larynx, and third place is trachea, where air passes down the trachea to lungs. The trachea is a flexible tube-like structure, as you can see in the diagram, stiffened by rings of cartilage. The whole trachea is encircled by a thick ring of cartilage. The fourth component of respiratory system is bronchi, and if you pronounce this bronchi in singular form, bronchi is a plural form, and singular form of bronchi is bronchus. The trachea, when trachea, as you can see in the diagram, when trachea progresses further, it is divided into two bronchi carrying air to each lung. We all know we have two lungs, one right lung and left lung. From nose to pharynx to larynx, then it comes to bronchi, and at the level of bronchi, it will divide into two. So bronchi, the trachea is split into two bronchi carrying air to each of lung. As you can see in the diagram, from nose to larynx to trachea, two bronchi. Fourth component is bronchi, where trachea is divided into two branches. One branch is going to left lung and other branch is going to right lung. The fifth component of human respiratory system is bronchiole. After bronchi, further division of bronchi is it into bronchiole. The bronchi is split into smaller tubules called bronchioles that distribute air to the alveoli. And the sixth component of respiratory system is alveoli. Air eventually reaches millions of tiny air sacs in the lungs called alveoli. Their walls are so thin that gases can pass through. It means that it is the final destination of air. It means air is entering through the nose and reaching at the level of in the lungs in the alveoli. The seventh component of respiratory system is ribs. It is indirectly helping in respiration. It doesn't carry oxygen, it doesn't carry carbon dioxide, but this is a structure which protect the lungs but is mobile enough to allow the chest to expand and contract during breathing. It means indirectly our rib cage is protecting our lungs, which is the main functional organ of respiratory system, as well as it by expansion and compression it can facilitate in normal inflation and deflation of lungs, so air can come in the lung and it can go out from the lungs. The next other structure which is important with reference to our respiratory system is intercostal muscle. Intercostal muscle, they are placed between the ribs, help our chest to expand when we breathe. It means these muscles are playing their important role in movement of ribs as well as thoracic cavity, and by their movement it can be helpful in expansion and deflation of chest. And the last and ninth important structure which also plays its role in respiration is diaphragm. This is a sheet of muscle under the lungs. It contracts and moves down to expand the chest cavity when we breathe in. It means there are 9 important structures which plays direct and indirect role for the conduction of or for the carrying respiratory mechanism. Now I would like to focus on some important features or some importance of respiratory system. Respiratory system is a sign of life. As we all know, without having oxygen we cannot live, because our tissue needs energy for work, and energy comes from oxygen. Without oxygen we cannot think our tissue can get enough amount of energy to perform most of the activity. So respiratory system plays a very vital role for human life. The most vital function. Respiration is independent but can be controlled to some extent. Now come to the function of respiratory system. The first and main function of respiratory system is supply of oxygen. It means whatever oxygen is available in atmosphere carried out in our body through the respiratory system. And the second function of respiratory system is to remove carbon dioxide and water vapor. Whenever we need energy, there is a metabolism is going on in our body, and with the result of metabolism, whatever we eat in form of carbohydrate can be converted into carbon dioxide and water and release some amount of energy. This is now normal metabolism in our body. So it is the oxygen only which can metabolize the glucose. So after the metabolism of glucose, the end product of glucose is carbon dioxide and water, and that is waste. So those metabolized CO2 and water can be excreted out from our lung with the help of respiratory system. And the third main function of our respiratory system is purification of blood. Blood, we have arterial blood and venous blood, and arterial blood is termed as purified blood because it is having more amount of oxygen, whereas venous blood is known as impure blood or deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood is, we cannot utilize that blood because we cannot produce energy, we cannot release energy, our body cannot get energy from that deoxygenated blood. So for getting energy we need oxygenated blood, and blood can get oxygen only and only with the help of respiratory mechanism. So one of the most important function of respiratory system is supplying oxygen to the blood and removing the waste product, that is carbon dioxide of the blood, to the outside the atmosphere. So first function is supplying oxygen to the body. Second function of respiratory system is to remove carbon dioxide and water vapor from the body, and third is purification of blood, mean it is supplying fresh oxygen to our blood and removing the impure carbon dioxide from the blood to outside the body. It is the main function, primary function of lung. Now come to the protective function of respiratory system. Protective function mean respiratory system also help us in production mechanism. As you can see, your mouth and nose both are opening in one chamber for the glottis. So whenever or sometime our lungs can have more amount of secretion or congestion. In those cases, when there is enough amount of congestion in our body, our lungs cannot absorb, cannot retain more amount of air because of less volume of blood, less volume of lungs, because the volume of most of the volume of lung is acquired by the deposition of some fluid that is known as congestion. And sometime because windpipe and esophagus pipe both are opening at same area, if there is any congestion within the windpipe, we can be able to exhale it out. So we have two different mechanisms. One is coughing and second is sneezing. Coughing and sneezing both are the function of respiratory system. So whenever there is any congestion in our lung, we have ability to cough and try to bring out whatever congestion is present in our lung, so we can clear our lung from the deposition of fluid. And the second, sneezing, is also a protective function of lungs. Whenever there is any blockage or any undesired thing between the esophagus and trachea, by sneezing we can bring it out and clear our airways. Same as talking in whenever we are going to produce sound is not a function of only tongue. Our larynx, it is one of important component of respiratory system. Larynx plays a very important role in the sound production. Now come to different organs. And the last but not least, the role of respiratory system is regulation, homeostatic role. The next role of respiratory system is homeostatic role. In what is homeostatic? Maintenance of body mechanism, body structure, body function is known as homeostatic. Maintenance of body function at its normal level is known as homeostatic role. So apart from all those functions, production of sound, clearance of blood, function with heart, supplying all tissues, it has other role also, that is known as homeostatic role. In homeostatic role, the respiratory system regulates blood pH. How it regulates blood? What is pH? pH is the hydrogen ion concentration of any liquid. So whenever the amount of carbon dioxide, a normal pH of blood is slightly basic. What is pH? By measuring the pH, we can decide whether this fluid is acidic or basic. So in normal condition, the normal pH of blood is slightly basic. But whenever the amount of carbon dioxide increases in the blood, and it can be resulted in deposition of formation of carbonic acid, and because of formation of carbonic acid, the normal blood of pH can divert from basic to acidic. An acidic environment for any body fluid or tissue is harmful. So in those conditions, by supplying enough amount of oxygen to that blood, as well as releasing their carbon dioxide from blood to outside, our respiratory system help our blood or any body tissue to regulate its pH or maintain its pH at the normal level. And also it is helpful in regulating the blood oxygen and carbon dioxide level by proper inhalation and exhalation. Okay, now I want to correlate the human respiratory system with other system of human body. I would like to explain what are the role of respiratory system over other system, and how other system plays their role for respiratory system. So what is the relationship between our respiratory system and other system of body? So I will discuss one by one, and I will tell you how lungs is going to help those system and how those system are going to help the respiratory system. So let us discuss first system, that is integumentary system. Integumentary system is mainly outermost covering of our body, that is skin. And what is what lungs is giving to our skin? Gas exchange in lungs provide oxygen to skin and rids body of carbon dioxide from skin. Because skin is a cell, and for its nutrition, for its energy, it is dependent on lungs. So it is getting its oxygen from lungs, and by using that oxygen, it is utilizing the present glucose for their nutrition. And how skin is going to help the lungs? Skin helps to protect the respiratory organs and help regulate body temperature. And skin is a body temperature regulator, and by maintaining temperature regulator, skin help to protect our respiratory system. The second system is skeletal system, and skeletal system is totally dependent on lungs for its oxygen. Gas exchange in lungs provide oxygen and rids body of carbon dioxide. So lungs supply oxygen to our musculoskeletal system and take back, or respiratory system take back its carbon dioxide, waste carbon dioxide from the muscular system to exhale in outer air. And how our musculoskeletal system is helping our respiratory system? Rib cage first is rib cage. Rib cage is part of musculoskeletal system. Our rib cage is giving a protection to our whole respiratory system, as well as assist in breathing. It is the rib cage, by changing in diameter or expansion and compression of our rib cage, the lungs is able to deflate and inflate. So the second most function of musculoskeletal system in respiration is, because of first is it is protecting the lungs, and second or whole most of the respiratory system component, and second function of our musculoskeletal system with respiratory system is it is assisting in breathing. Bone provide attachment site for muscle involved in breathing. It means it is having a different muscle. By contraction of those muscle, it increase or decrease the diameter of thoracic cavity or rib cage, and by increasing or decreasing the thoracic cavity of rib cage, it can facilitate exhalation or inhalation of air within the lung. Third system is cardiovascular system. And what is the relation between cardiovascular system and respiratory system? Respiratory system exchange, respiratory system supply fresh oxygen to our lung, our heart. Gas exchange in lungs rids body of carbon dioxide, helping to regulate the pH of blood. Breathing aids venous return. It means कि whatever lungs, whatever oxygen is coming in our lung or in the respiratory system is going to heart and supplying the heart fresh oxygenated blood and taking the deoxygenated blood of heart. And how heart is helping our lungs? Heart is giving blood vessels, transport gases to and from lungs, blood services, respiratory organs. It means the heart is sending deoxygenated blood to the lungs and receiving oxygenated blood from the lung. As well as for the nutrition of lung also need some amount of blood to its nutrition. So heart is also supplying some arteries and veins for the nutrition of lung. The fourth system is lymphatic system and lungs. What is the relationship between lymphatic system and lung? Tonsils and adenoids occur along respiratory tract. Breathing aids lymph flow. Lungs carry out gas exchange. It means tonsil is a part of lymph system. Adenoids are a part of lymph system. And along with respiratory tract, breathing aids lymph fluid. Because of breathing, our breathing pattern or respiratory system facilitate the flow of lymphatic fluid, and lungs carry out gas exchange. It takes waste gases from the lymphatic system and supply fresh one to them. And what our lungs is giving to, what our lymphatic system is giving to our lungs? Lymphatic vessels pick up excess tissue fluid, immune system protect against respiratory tract lung infection. So our lymphatic system is helping our lung it is protecting lungs against infection, as well as our lymphatic system is picking up excess fluid of lungs. So here lungs is helping our lymphatic system and lymphatic system is also helping our lungs. The next system is muscular system. Muscular system, lungs provide oxygen for contracting muscle and rid the body of carbon dioxide from contracting muscle. It means for muscle, lungs is supplying, or our respiratory system is supplying fresh oxygen for its oxidative mechanism or for its energy production, as well as taking its waste carbon dioxide to remove in the environment. And how our muscle is helping our lungs? Muscle contraction assist breathing, physical exercises increase respiratory capacity. So our muscle is also helping our respiratory system by two modes. First is by contracting different muscles like serratus anterior, like scalene, like sternocleidomastoid, like external oblique, intercostal muscle. By contraction of these muscles, or by contraction of abdominal muscle, by contraction of these muscles, they are helping in breathing pattern. And same as whenever we are going for physical exercises, our muscle needs more energy, and when our muscle needs more energy, it needs more oxygen. For more oxygen, lung will inhale more oxygen, so it will increase the functional capacity of lung. So by exercising our muscle, indirectly we can increase the lungs capacity. Now come to nervous system. How nervous system is, what is the correlation between nervous system and respiratory system? Our respiratory system provide oxygen for neurons and take its carbon dioxide. But our nerves, how our nerve is helping our respiratory system? Whole the function of respiratory system is controlled by respiratory system. In brain regulate breathing rate. It means brain is sending different nerves in the lungs, and that nerves are controlling the normal working pattern of our lungs. So lungs is dependent on nervous system, as well as nervous system is also dependent on lung. So there is a interdependency for both. Next is endocrine system. What is the role of lungs in endocrine system? Lungs is giving gases, there is gases exchange takes place. That is same, lungs is giving, or our respiratory system is supplying oxygen and taking its CO2 from the endocrine system, and how our endocrine system is helping our respiratory system. Epinephrine promotes ventilation by dilating bronchioles. Epinephrine is a hormone, and because of release of epinephrine, it promotes the ventilation by dilating, mean expansion of bronchiole. Bronchiole is a part of respiratory system, and whenever there is release of epinephrine, a hormone, it can increase the diameter of bronchiole. And second thing is growth factor control production of red blood cells that carry oxygen. It means that by release of hormone, it can control the growth of RBC, and RBC is the one of important component of oxygen transportation. So our endocrine system is also helping our respiratory system by these mechanisms. Now we will discuss about the role of digestive system in respiratory system. Whenever gas exchange in lungs provide oxygen to digestive tract and excrete carbon dioxide from the dust. It means the main function of lung for every system is supplying oxygen and taking its carbon dioxide back. But how our digestive system is going to help our respiratory system? Let's discuss. Breathing is possible through the mouth because digestive tract and respiratory tract share the pharynx. Sometimes when our nose is not able to breathe because of congestion or because of any other condition, so we are able to exhale or inhale from the mouth. So mouth is a part of digestive system, and it is also helping it is acting as a accessory respiratory way. So through mouth breathing is possible because digestive tract and respiratory tract share the pharynx. Within the pharynx, both our mouth is going to open as well as our nose is going to open. So if either we exhale from nose or we exhale or inhale from mouth is possible. So our digestive system is also helping our respiratory system in this way. Now come to the next system is urinary system. Lungs excrete carbon dioxide, provide oxygen, and convert angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, leading to kidney regulation. It means lungs is going to help excretory system by two ways. First way, they are exchanging their gases. It means supplying oxygen and taking carbon dioxide. And the second role of our respiratory system for urinary system is our respiratory system is able to convert the angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, and by converting the angiotensin 1 to 2, it is regulating the function of kidney. And how kidney is going to help the respiratory system? Kidney compensate for water loss through respiratory tract, work with lungs to maintain blood pH. It means kidney compensate for whatever water loss we have through the exhalation or expiration. So kidney is able to compensate that water loss, because if we don't have enough water in our body, we will have electrolytic imbalance. So whatever loss is happened through exhalation process, kidney can compensate for that loss. This is a function. This is the first help of our respiratory system to our lungs respiratory system, and second, lungs is helping to maintain the blood pH along with kidney. So kidney is trying to selectively reabsorb some other macromolecule, as well as lungs both are helping to maintain the blood pH by their own mechanism. Last one is role of respiratory system or reproductive system. Gas exchange increases during sexual activities. It means whenever there is a sexual activities, inhalation or exhalation increases. Body needs more oxygen, and when body will take more oxygen, it will be resulted in production of more carbon dioxide. So during sexual activities, we need more oxygen, so our respiratory system will provide more oxygen to the body, as well as it will release more carbon dioxide from the body. And how our sexual system is going to help our reproductive system? Sexual activity increases breathing, pregnancy causes breathing rate and vital capacity to increase. So whenever the person is going for sexual activity, he will use more of his lungs, or during the pregnancy, lady require more oxygen. So whenever he or she will require more energy, she will inhale more, exhale more, and during this exercise, they will increase the capacity of lung and ultimately the health of lung. Thank you.
Topic is general anatomy, terminology and positions. I am Rashidul Islam Ansari, CC Aligarh. Review of structures, organization. As you know very well, atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, organs, system, organism. These are the different units which covers a human body. Body systems are 10. Skeletal system, this is contains bones. Circulatory system, which reveals that blood circulation. Digestive system, from tongue to rectum. Respiratory system, from nose to lungs. Urinary system, this is the defecation. Urinary system, reproductive system, nervous system, muscular system based upon human muscles, endocrine system and autogumentary system. Basically, here I want to discuss skeletal system. Much general diagnostic radiography involves examination of bones and joints, osteology and orthology. 200 separate bones are present in human body, divided into axial and appendicular bones. These 206 bones are in two groups. Number one is skeletal. Skeleton, axial skeleton contains 80 bones. Cranium means head in which 8 cranial bones are attached. Facial bones are 14, 1 height bone. Auditory ossicles are 6. Cervical vertebrae are 7. And thoracic vertebrae 12. Lumbar vertebrae 5. Sacrum 1. Coccyx 1. Sternum, this is the main sternum. Coccyx 1. Sternum 1. And 24 ribs are contains the human body chest. Total 80 bones in axial skeleton are shown here. Appendicular skeletal system contains 126 bones, 2 clavicles, 2 scapula, 2 humerus, 1 and 2 ulnar bones and 2 radius bones. Carpals 16, metacarpus 10, phalanges 28, hip bones 2, femora 2, this makes thigh. Patella, which contains situated at the knee joint in both legs, is patella 2, tarsal bone 15, metatarsal 10 bones, phalanges 28. Sesamoid bones, special oval shaped bones found in tendons mostly near joints, not present in developing fetus. The only sesamoid that are included in the total body bone count are the patellae, common found on the palmar surface of the hand and sometimes in the tendons of the upper of lower limb joints. Any sesamoid can fracture and may need to be demonstrated radiographically. Radiography helps in the diagnosis of the fracture. Bones classification, 4 types of bones are here. These are long bones, which makes forearm, upper arm and legs. Flat bones, which contains chest, sternum, short bones, and some irregular bones, just hip bones, pelvic bones, and pelvis symphysis. This is the classification of bones shape. Long bones, body, two ends and extremities, composed of compact bones or cortex, body, spongy bones, red marrow, medullary cavity, periosteum, hyaline, cartilage, articular cartilage, and periosteum. Short bones are carpals and tarsals. Flat bones consist of two plates of compact bone with cancellous bones and marrow between them. Example, clavarium, sternum, ribs, and scapulae. Deploy space between the inner and outer table of the flat bones in the cranium. This is the cranium. Irregular bones, bones with peculiar shapes, vertebrae, facial bones. These are the facial bones of the cranium base and bones of the pelvis. These all are irregular bones. Blood cells production. RBC, red blood cells, are produced in the red bone marrow of the certain flats and irregular bones. As in sternum, RBC production in red marrow, bone development. In the intrauterine life, or ossification begins in the 6th embryonic week and continues until adulthood. Adulthood means just 25 years of the age, and intrauterine life in the pregnancy, 6th week of pregnancy, bones ossification begins. Two kinds of bone formations, intramembranous, occur rapidly in bones necessary for production, sutures of the skulls. Endochondral, much slower than intramembranous, occurs in the most part of the skeleton. Centers of endochondral ossification. Primary centers, mid-body or diaphysis. Secondary centers, ends or extremities of the long bones or epiphysis. Epiphyseal plates found between the diaphysis and epiphysis until the skeletal growth is complete. Growth of the skeleton is complete at the age of 25 years. And this starts in intrauterine life just 5th week of pregnancy. Orthology is study of joints. Functional classification, synarthrosis, immovable joints, amphiarthrosis, limited movements of the joints, diarthrosis, freely movable joints. Structural classification. Number 1, fibrous, held together by fibrous connective tissue. Syndesmosis, only one in the body. Distal tubulofibular joint. Amphiarthrodial, sutures between the bones of the skulls. Synarthrodial. Gomphosis, roots of the teeth, very limited movements. Number 2, cartilaginous, held tightly together by cartilage. Symphysis, example in intervertebral disc. Amphiarthrodial. Synchondrosis, these are temporary growth joints. Example in the acetabulum, they are synarthrodial. Number 3, synovial. Fibrous capsule contains synovial fluid. They are diarthrial, and some example are the knee and elbow joint. Movements type of synovial joints. Number 1, plane or gliding. Number 2, gingivimus or hinge. Number 3, trochoid or pivot. Number 4, ellipsoid or condyloid, cellar or saddle. Number 6, sphenoid or ball and socket joints. Anatomical positions. Upright arms abducted, palms forwarded, and feet directed straight ahead, Viewing radiographic display X-ray so that the patient is facing weave in anatomic position. This is the anatomical position. Face is straight, palms anterior sides, toes right side, face and in front. Body planes, section and lines. Sagittal plane, any longitudinal plane dividing the body into the right and left. Any longitudinal plane dividing into the body left and right side. Mid-sagittal plane means one median plane divided the body into the equal both right and left sides. Coronal plane, longitudinal plane divided the body into the anterior and posterior. Anterior part, this is the posterior part. Anterior and posterior parts section is the coronal section. Mid-coronal section is divided the body into the equal anterior and posterior parts. This is mid-coronal just means just midpoints in the body, one anterior and the other part is posterior part. Horizontal or axial plane, transverse plane passing through the body at right angles at the longitudinal plane divided into superior and inferior position. Superior position and this is the inferior position. Just 90 degree in the body. Horizontal or axial plane. Oblique plane, longitudinal or transverse that is on an angle or slant to the sagittal, coronal or horizontal planes. Understanding CT and MRI images. Longitudinal section can be taken in sagittal, coronal or oblique planes. Transverse, axial or cross section. Planes of skull. Base plane, occipital plane. Body surfaces and parts. Posterior or dorsal part. This is the posterior part. This makes back and anterior part makes chest. This can be called ventral side, plantar, sole of foot, dorsal, top of anterior surface of foot back or posterior aspect of the hand. Palmar means palm of the hand or anterior or ventral surface. This is the palmar side and this is the dorsal side. Plantar side is sole of the foot. Anterior, this is the anterior or ventral side and the back side is the posterior or dorsal side. Radiographic projections. Posterior anterior PAV means first posterior and after anterior position. Next antero-posterior, first anterior or ventral position and next posterior position. PA oblique means posterior anterior and oblique side. Mediolateral or lateral medial. Median side, this is known as median side and lateral side, the lateral one side. Body positions and spatial projections. Supine position, prone position, erect position, recumbent, Trendelenburg, Flowers, Sims position, lithotomy position, decubitus, axial, infrasuperior or superior inferior, tangential, apiaxial or lordotic, transthoracic, dorsoplantar or plantodorsal, parieto, acanthial or acanthoparietal, submentovertex or vertigo-submental. Relationship terms. Medial versus lateral position, proximal versus distal position, cephaloid versus caudate, interior versus exterior, superficial weave versus deep, ipsilateral versus contralateral, lordosis versus kyphosis. Lordosis, just imagine, just we can, this is position is lordosis and opposite position is kyphosis. Scoliosis means vertebral column tilted to one side, flexion and extension, ulnar deviation and radiation deviation. Ulnar deviation means ulnar bone deviated into another side, and radius deviation is outer side. Aversion or inversion, valgus versus varus, medial rotation versus lateral rotation. This is the medial rotation, and when we move our hand to lateral side, this is the lateral position. Abduction, this is the abduction position, and adduction, this is the adduction position. Protrusion and retraction. Protrusion and retraction position. Elevation means to elevate something, and depression position, compress or depress. Circumduction means circumduction around the one surface, rotation or tilt. Rotation at movement at one point, tilt movement, just light movement within position. Classification of position terms. Position. Use this when indicating the patient's general physical position such as supine, prone, etc. It is also used to describe the specific body positions such as obliques and laterals. Restricted the use of this word of the patient's physical position. Projection, describe the path or direction of the central ray. Restricted the use of this word to the CR. Weave, not to correct position terms in the US. Restricted the use of the word weave to describing the image from the vantage of the image receptor. Radiographic criteria. The goal of every technology should be not just the passable radiograph, but rather an optimal one that can be evaluated by a definable standard as described under the radiographic criteria. A structure shown, first preference is to show some structure and some position, collimation and CR, exposure criteria, image markers. Principle of determining position routines. A minimum of 2 projections 90 degrees from each other is required to most procedures. Why? Because certain conditions may not be visualized on one projection only. Sometimes foreign bodies are embedded and 2 projections are needed to determine the exact location. All fractures require 2 projections at 90 degree angles to determine the alignment of the fracture parts. A minimum of 3 projections when joints are in interest area. Why? Because more information is needed than can be provided by 2 projections. See list in book. Procedure requires 2 procedures and which requires 3. Topographic position landmarks. Vertebral prominences, jugular notch, sternal angles, Ziphioid process, inferior costal margins, iliac crest, ascis, greater trocar, symphysis pubis, ischial tuberosity, body habits, hypersthenic, sthenic, hyposthenic and sthenic. 4 types of body habits: hypersthenic, sthenic, hyposthenic and sthenic. Thanks.